With that being said, I want to introduce you guys to our very special guest. I'm joined by Stephanie, who is an alumna of the program. And then we actually have 3 current students joining us today, which I am personally super thrilled about. We don't have this opportunity often, and you guys are just going to be, all 4 of you really will be able to bring so much to the table. So I'm joined by Roxana, Joel, and Eva. Stephanie, I'll start with you, and then we'll move forward with Roxana, Joel, and Eva. If you guys will just take, a quick second to introduce yourself, when you graduated from the program or when you started, what brought you to the U, and what you're currently doing now for your line of work.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Well, good afternoon. My name is Stephanie Thomas. I am currently a employee for a local municipality here in North Miami. I started the program in 2018 at UM. My long life dream was to be a UM alum, and I never thought I would have that opportunity. So I took the chance and I applied, and I was accepted and graduated. We started with the class of 15 in the inaugural MPA program. And at the end, it was 3 of us that actually finished the course. So I'm excited, and I am still in public service. It's my passion.
Roxana?
Hi, good morning. My name is Roxana. I am currently a victim advocate at the Pasco County Sheriff's Office in Florida, and I've been a victim advocate for about 5 years within the law enforcement scope. And I recently started a couple weeks ago, and I can just say honestly that this program has opened my eyes in so many different ways that constantly as an advocate, I'm working with a lot of community partners, a lot of entities of government for the sake of victims of crime. And so this is a great program that incorporates all of that, gets to kind of know who does what, and kind of learning how can we bridge those gaps. So it's been a very rewarding experience so far. So I'm really excited for everyone here. Thank you.
Fantastic. And Eva Joel, we'll move on to you.
Sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Joel McAuliffe. I'm located in Western Massachusetts, about 90 miles west of Boston. I started here at UM just about a month and a half ago, it seems like at this point in August, and happy to be here. I'll talk about, how easy it was to apply, how to start to my career at UM, and offer some feedback in terms of I've been I finished my bachelor's at a primarily online university, now to be in a totally online master's program. Actually started my my college career in 2010 and just finished my bachelor's and jumped into my master's. So it's a talk about different kinds of journeys, and I'm really pleased to be here at UM to work on this master's program. So thanks for having me.
Thank you. And Eva.
Hi, I'm Eva. I am a crisis manager. I am probably the only one that's not in the public sector. I'm in the private sector. And I work for a lot of your favorite entertainers as a crisis manager. This program is awesome. It's great for the private sector as well as the public sector. I'm a generational hurricane. I got my undergrad from the University of Miami, and really excited about this master's program, and you will be too.
Well, again, I just want to say thank you all so much for joining us. I know you guys have a lot on your plate with work and now the program for 3 of you. So again, so appreciate your time and just willingness to share a little bit more for those students who were either or currently in your previous positions, and just ultimately, sharing your heart and kind of where you're at in life. So with that being said, I want to just start with our first question, and it's probably the easiest, but also the most difficult too, because what drew you to the UOnline MPA program? Because let's just be honest, especially now, with the pandemic, there are so many online programs out there. So what was it specifically about the UOnline MPA program that you felt like, you know what, this is what I want, where I want to be, and this is what I want to pursue? And at this point, we'll just open the floor to anyone who wants to share.
Yeah, I can talk a little bit about that as someone who just went through that application process. Well, for me,
Yes.
I've always been attracted to UM. Fixed probably what was a long mistake not starting here and coming back for my master's. But I spent a lot of time in the Miami area as someone who vacations there and grew up a Dolphins fan, and has really followed the school and the program for a long, long time. But in terms of applying for the master's program, very easy application process. It was the flexibility with the cohort start date, which was very, very attractive. Other schools didn't offer that. And just seeing the infrastructure that's in place, right? When you're going to apply to all these schools, they may have online programs, but what you really want to be looking for is whether or not they have the support system and the online infrastructure. UM has all that. I've seen it. I've gone to other online schools. This is probably one of the best ones that I've been a part of. And I've only been here a couple of months. So I'd really encourage people to take a look at those two aspects. I find them to be the most important.
To Joel's point, if I may, there's almost a sort of concierge type of ability with this program, because the professors are so available and accessible for all your questions, no matter how not less than smart you may think they are. And that's super attractive as well.
I would like to add to that. Besides the fact that I'm a UM fan and I'm from Miami, Florida, the support system, as the others have said, is on point. The resources is invaluable. There's nothing that you can actually find all the information that you want there, and the professors are so accommodating to the needs of each individual. So please feel free to ask questions. They're there to help you, to guide you through the program. The reason why I went into the UOnline program, it was convenient to actually do my classes online because of my personal reasons in life. My husband was very ill at the time, and I thought it was the most ideal thing to do was to, get my master's degree on an online platform, which was very beneficial for me because my laptop became my friend the entire 2 years that I was in the program. And I, was able to graduate, on the top of my class. So it's very economical, feasible, and the ideal and practical thing for someone that has a busy lifestyle.
And I agree completely with everyone that, and the great thing about this program, about the school in general, is that, most of us are not even in the state, but yet this school has this way of, you can be far away, but yet still feel part of the community. And I think that's the most beautiful thing, that you can go to any program in any school, but if you don't have that sense of being part of something, it makes it a little bit difficult, because just like any journey in life, it's a you have your ups and downs, but when you really feel part of a community, everyone's really there for each other. And I think for me personally, other than always wanting to be a cane, I think personally one of the best things about this school is that I like to call University of Miami a school of opportunity. It took me 6 years. I did apply to different programs, but what this school sees in you is your potential, what you bring to the table. And I think that's the most beautiful thing, that they don't just look at maybe your resume or anything like that. They look at you as a person and the impact that you can make to the community, no matter what area you decide to go in. And just the online program, it's just beautiful. It's feasible. You can focus on your family, create that balance, and it's beautiful. So I could go on and on and on.
That
Agreed.
is fantastic. Those answers are wonderful. And I think the most common things that I heard was it's flexible, it's intentional, and your faculty are pretty much the best thing. And I know, Stephanie, we had talked about this before the meeting began about Dr. West, and he, I mean, just truly bends over backwards for our students. And one thing that I do want to point out for those that may not be aware is that these are the same faculty who work with our on-campus students. So at the end of the day, you're getting the same program, the same faculty, even same networking opportunities as a traditional on-campus student. But, you know, most of the students within our online programs are full-time working adults, and we see that with all four of you. Each of you have are either in or have completed the program while working full-time, dealing with family situations. And so again, so appreciate you guys, elaborating on that. I do want to ask a specific question about that flexibility and, working with your faculty. What does that look like? Can you speak a little bit more about office hours? Like if a student has a question and, let's say they're in Massachusetts, how do they get in contact with their faculty if they're not within a 10-minute drive of campus?
I will answer that. I have a crazy schedule, and I have emailed Dr. West and I did have Dr. West in my undergrad on campus. So did my children. I have 2 children that also graduated from this program. So I'm like such a cheerleader for this program, just so you know. I have emailed him at 7 o'clock in the morning, at 10 o'clock at night. And he's always responsive. There's this obviously when he sees it, he responds, but there's never a time where you're wondering if they saw your question, if they're going to respond or anything like that. And then we have a person that's dedicated to us that actually helps with everything. They enroll you in your classes, they take care of your financial aid. That's so important. Like last week I worked 86 hours. I don't have time to handle all that other stuff. And there's actually people at the university that help you with that. And what's super important also is the misconception of online programs where you quote teach yourself. You don't teach yourself here. The professors teach you. They are active, they are available, they are accessible, you're Zooming with them. It's not just you getting a book and teaching yourself. I think that's super important.
I have to add to Ava's comments. I have to share an experience. Due to my job, I had to travel to Europe. And, the time difference between, Florida and Europe is significant. And I was not sure I was going to complete my assignments that were due at that week, but my professors were so supportive and they actually responded to my emails as soon as they can and allowed me to turn in my assignment based on my schedule there in Europe. So when I say accommodating and very respectful of your situation, I can't say more about our professors. They were really there and very supportive of me during that time.
I'd like to add to that too. I mean, I've been here for less than 2 months at this point. I'm blown away by the responsiveness, having just finished my bachelor's at another university, and the flexibility. They get that you're full-time, work, family, you've got a loaded plate, and they're there to work with you so that you can achieve the education that you're here for. So it's incredible. It's very supportive. And if you're trying to make a decision based on whether or not you think you have the time, as long as you remain committed, they will make the time for you if you're committed.
Yes, agreed.
Oh yeah, and committed, and making sure you're just communicating at all times. I mean, they're very, very understanding. I have an on-call schedule, a part of my job. So, I mean, recently I got called out for a homicide, and I worked X amount of hours, and luckily, it was communicated though through my professor. Hey, like, this is what's going on from the get-go, and just lots of communication. But it's just, no matter the time, no matter the hour, they get it. This is why the online program exists for working professionals, right? So it's just phenomenal, phenomenal. There's nothing more I can say but greatness. Yeah.
That's perfect. And yes, if I may as well elaborate on, a lot of times students think that it's a disadvantage to have a full-time job while you're in a program, whether it be on campus or online. Whereas specifically with the Master of Public Administration program, our faculty almost prefer that students are working because they're able to take what you're currently doing, whether you're, in the public or private sector. What are you doing right now, and how can we apply what we're currently learning so that you're getting that hands-on, type of experience? And I know that, Ava, Joel, and Roxana, you guys will certainly experience that a lot more as you're going through the program. And I'm sure Stephanie can certainly, vouch for that. But shifting focus, I do want to continue to speak about our faculty, but specifically about their backgrounds and how it impacts the classroom environment, the curriculum that you guys are doing. And Stephanie, this might be more of a question for you since you have, already completed the program.
So the curriculum, when it first started, was rigorous, of course, but don't be intimidated by it. As a first-time online student, and I usually tend to like, the traditional sitting in class and learning, but it could be intimidating at the beginning. And what I used to do is take my time a week before and just kind of look at the curriculum, look at the assignments that are due for the week, and kind of absorb that before I actually dive in to do the work. So that kind of helped me, make sure that I'm on track. And of course, prioritizing your time is going to be very important in this program. And it becomes, organic after that. Once you have a rhythm that you have for yourself, and it may not work for you, it may work for somebody else, but you have to find a balance so that you can, get your assignments completed. And when you have a group project, make sure that, everybody's on board, and communication is very important. I'm sure by now the curriculum it has fine-tuned itself, where, a lot of the students can find the type of resources that they need in order to complete their assignments and ask questions, engage in conversation with other students outside of Blackboard. Yeah. I hope I answered the question.
No, yes, that's excellent insight, because honestly, these, you guys are so helpful at, helping actual students figure out, exactly what to expect, not from my perspective or even our faculty, but from someone that is doing it or has done it. So any insight you guys can provide is so appreciative. I did want to ask, specifically with our faculty's backgrounds, I don't know if that played a role in, whether or not you decided to join the program, because these faculty, like I mentioned earlier, are the same ones who work with our on-campus students, and they do have direct industry experience. And so did that play a role in your, admissions decision if you wanted to join that program? And is it playing a role now in your courses?
I've appreciated in the first intro course, the feedback that's provided by the professor who has worked in public administration, and that can relate to some of the things that we're writing and discussing in the course. I think it's been very helpful, and the feedback is very detailed and based on real world experience, which I think has been beneficial to me, and I'm sure to my other classmates.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah, I agree especially with Dr. West and his papers and the things he has done. When we had to do like any kind of research, or his paper always seemed to pop up. So when I realized, oh, Dr. West, the University of Miami, so it was meant to be. So that's one of the factors that drew me in.
That's great. Thank you.
Yes.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, yes, I was definitely inspired by my professors. They do hold the title of doctor, right, in their title. And eventually, after I graduated, I went into my doctorate program in health sciences. And
Wow.
UM has definitely cultivated and helped me with my writing skills, where I just exceeded in my doctoral program. So I was very influenced by them and grateful.
They are just amazing people, truly. I mean, as an outsider, I am fairly new to UM. I guess I've been here about 2 years now, and every day I just feel like I'm floored by how amazing our faculty members are, and just how they truly bend over backwards for our students, because that is not normal at most universities. And that is something, as a private university, we do try to keep our classes small and intentional, so that they can have that opportunity to invest in you on, a very personal level. And so I'm glad that you all have had that experience, whether it be so far in your program, or Stephanie, as you completed, the program. And even now, I know we were talking earlier about, wanting to connect with Dr. West, even after these years of you being out of the program. So that is wonderful. Let's talk about, I guess my next question is, how does a Master of Public Administration program help prepare students for leadership roles? And Stephanie, you've experienced this now, as having completed the program, but for the other three of you, you're already pretty much in the public or private sector. How do you feel like this program is helping you grow professionally, or preparing you for that next big goal that you have set for yourself?
So I have been in the public sector for almost 20 years, right? So I believe obtaining my master's degree in public administration has helped elevate my career status. Once I received my graduate degree in public administration, I became the deputy city clerk here at the city of North Miami, and also the supervisor of elections. So it definitely makes a difference in your career goals. And although it's, book information that you're learning, the experiences that you obtain while working in the government sector also helps you to understand what you're learning in the books that you're studying. And it's just a nice transition. And I believe by doing that, I'm so happy I did, because my career goal now, and currently I'm running for office. So that inspired me from that point of becoming, a student, and then obtaining my degree, and now running for office. So it's definitely a vision that I never had, but it did come to me because of all the knowledge and all the experiences that I went through working in the public sector.
Well, best of luck to you in your upcoming election then.
Thank you.
I'd say, Stephanie, are you sure you want to do this as an elected official? But we appreciate you using your professional experience to serve the people of North Miami. And I want to echo really a lot of what you said. As someone who's been in public service for almost a decade now, doing different types of work, what I've found already in the short time I've been studying in the master's program is really how the coursework is impacting my lived experience, right? And how I'm reading about how to manage people, different styles of management. Well, I supervise staff, and now I think a little bit more about how I do that because of the professionalization and the training that I'm receiving thus far. And I only expect that to continue. So it really is helpful in terms of how you live that lived experience is informed by your studies. And that's really what I'm most looking forward to continue throughout the program.
Yeah, no, yeah, no, I'm like, dang, girl, my power to you. I'm like, that's awesome.
Same.
But I agree. This program, I always say that even the thought of everyone being here and being interested in the program, we are all leaders in our own right, right? And this program is such a beautiful tool to just enhance what you already have. all the skills, your strengths, just learning those. Okay, all right, how can I be a better leader? How, learning a little bit more of the roles. And I think that personally with this program too, is that work sometimes, right? Everyday work, we are constrained to the rules and what we can do, what we can't do. But the great thing about this program is that you write your papers, you have your discussions, but you're encouraged to share your ideas. You're encouraged to share anything. And I think that once you immerse yourself to all that, and with the support of your professors, with the help of your classmates, it transforms you into, oh snap, you know what, I can do this, I can do that, and you certainly can. So I think it's absolutely beautiful how maybe at this moment you're like, oh, I don't know, maybe I can't really do that, but you'd be surprised on what you are capable of once you get the ball rolling. So
Yes.
I can't say nothing more to that, man.
So true.
A quick question for you guys. And I guess as you're in the program, it's obviously fully online. And so we have students in the program from all across the country. And we see that with Ava's in New York and Joel in Massachusetts, and then Roxana and Stephanie, in the Miami area. But you can virtually complete the degree from anywhere, which is what Stephanie touched on with being in Europe for a little while. How have you felt that, having students from all across the country or even world has helped you, already, whether it be in networking or just providing more of a perspective, because they're working in so many different areas within the public sector?
I think it's been super helpful. There's, I bring the perspective of how things are happening, being done here in Massachusetts, but my classmates are bringing, how things are being done in Florida or wherever else they are. My professor spent time in Kentucky and talks about the work that she's done there. There's a lot of similarities, but there's also a lot of differences about how you use the public administration, knowledge that you gain. So been very helpful. That I think the diversity is important. I think we can learn a lot from each other by seeing how things are done differently elsewhere, how things are done well, how things are done not so well, and how to learn from those.
Yeah, to piggyback off of what Joel said, the diversity is huge, and it really helps with your ability to critically think and to avert crisis, my job, in different settings when you are daily with people, from that have a different perspective, that are in a different geographic location, and so on. And getting to hear, their take on things really does help. And I've been doing this for 22 years. So like, I thought I knew everything. And until I realized I didn't, you know what I mean? And it's really good to have all those different perspectives. And like, look at what Roxana does. Like, that's incredible. Joel is an elected official. Like, that's major, and we are all so different, but my classmates are so amazing that I can learn so much from them.
Absolutely. I think that is by far one of my favorite aspects about online education, is just the networking aspect. That's one of those hidden gems that a lot of people don't think about. In fact, most people would think that, it's online education, I'm on my own little island, where that is not the case at all. It might be with some other programs. So with our university, because it is so intentional, you get to have these opportunities to connect with individuals from all across the country. And as you all know, working with any type of, job requires networking, but especially within the public sector, you almost have to know someone to try to get your foot into the door. And so being able to say, oh, I was in a class with this person all the way in California or in Massachusetts or New York or Florida, and just to be able to, grow from them, but also, piggyback on them. That's okay as a professional to do. So I appreciate you all touching base on that. And before we move further, I do want to reiterate to our listeners right now that there is a Q&A feature. As we're coming to a close on the session, we want to make sure that we're answering any questions that you guys may have, specifically about what it's like to be a student in the program. So please feel free to utilize that, and we'd be sure to ask those questions to our panelists. But my next question is, let's just keep it real for a second. Almost everyone that's watching this session, either right now or later on, they are trying to decide if the University of Miami is going to be a good fit for them. What does this look like on a daily basis? So let's speak into that. You've started the program. What does a typical week look like for you as a current student?
Well, it depends on the week, or it depends on what's going on at the job, right?
Sure.
So work your way around it. But typically, I mean, for me personally, I come home, right, 5 o'clock or whatever the case might be. And I just, you have your readings, you do your discussions, so you're communicating. But I know it's gonna sound very cliche, but again, I know I'm gonna reiterate it. It's just flexible. It's just flexible. So if I have to take a nap and work at 3 a.m. at any of my schoolwork, or just needing anything, I mean, the reading, I mean, obviously it's just like if you're undergrad or with school, right? You have to study, you have to put in some time in it. And anything that you're not really understanding, utilizing those office hours or emailing your professor. I think that's the number one thing, but it varies from week to week, but making that time every day though, to put in a little bit of work so that it doesn't just, go last minute.
Pile up for sure.
So, but that's just me personally. I hope I answer that right.
No, for sure.
Yeah, the idea for me, considering where I am in my career, when I thought about going for my master's, was a little overwhelming, and I wasn't sure whether or not I could dedicate the time necessary. So I think it's important for people to recognize you can focus on a single class at a time. You have a structure in place, as we talked about already, with the support system, the accessibility of the professors. That's huge. But you have your set due dates for discussion posts, which is a couple a week. When you're supposed to reply and when there are due dates. I love, and this is something that's different than what I've experienced before, the regular reminders that go out by email. What a huge help. Very simple thing that I think makes a big difference for an awful lot of people. And I think it's, that goes back to what we've talked about this entire time, is the school, the professors, they get it. We've got a lot going on. We're working, we're taking care of our families. We've got other stuff going on. We want to be all in, but we need to be all in with a little bit of help. That help has been there. And I think it's going to continue to be there. Like I said, busy schedule. I don't feel overwhelmed. I feel busy, but I don't feel overwhelmed, because I think the support system has just made a huge difference.
I also have to add, it's important when you go into this program to have family support, right? Because of the support of my family, and especially my husband and my 2 growing children that were in high school at the time, they were very, very supportive. They knew that when mommy gets home from work, I make dinner, take care of them, and then the rest of the evening is for me to do whatever I needed to do, make sure my assignments are completed, that I'm on time with, making sure that, I'm on my Blackboard, and also with, my team members. So family support is definitely important. That's a conversation everyone should have with their family, to help out in that aspect, so that you can succeed in your career in what you're trying to do.
And another thing to piggyback off of what everyone else said, the interaction is as much or as little as you want. So if you want to speak to your professor every day, which I have one, again, she's a carryover from my undergrad, and we've become really good friends, or I get on her nerves, I don't know, either way. And she protects me, and I'm just kidding. And we talk quite often about, certain topics and assignments and so on. She gives me a lot of feedback outside of the regular hours. So the interaction ability helps with the load. The load is heavy. I mean, it's a master's program, and you have to take it seriously. And it can present challenges at times, but overall, you have the ability to interact with your classmates, with your professors, and so on. And it really, really does help. So an average week is like what Roxana said, like what Joel said, like what Dr. Stephanie said. It really depends on the week. But ultimately, you do have a support system at the University of Miami that provides a cushion if you need it.
Absolutely. I actually had the opportunity to speak with 2 faculty members for another program that we have. And one of our faculty mentioned structured flexibility. And I loved that because I think that it summarizes the UOnline setup so well. At the beginning of every week, you know what is expected. It's not something that you're caught off guard by. Of course, there may be some little things here and there, but for the most part, you know what to plan for. And as a working professional, or as a mom or father, or someone with just so many responsibilities, you have the ability to create your own schedule because it is one course at a time. It's a heavy load, but like Joel said, it is very doable because we've designed the program for individuals like yourself that have all those requirements and want to make sure that we are, making sure that you're successful through the program. We certainly do not want to set you up for failure. And so there are so many, avenues, whether it be our academic advisors who are there, like Ava said earlier, helping you get signed up for those next classes, helping you remind you about financial aid things. So there's just the minute things that you don't think about that make a huge difference when it comes to whether or not you want to pull your hair out, throughout the program, and just juggling everything that life gives you. As we're wrapping up, we are almost to our early admissions deadline, and I'm sure you guys heard that a lot as you were going through the applications. And so we're super excited for students, to be starting those programs. And honestly, they may even have some classes with you guys, since you're fairly new into the programs. And so what an honor that would be for them to be able to connect with you on that individual basis. But, as you just went through that process, do you have any advice for these students, whether it be, preparing for acceptance, getting those applications in early, getting everything done before the holidays, and just giving yourself a lot of time to be able to get that registration stuff and just everything completed before classes start?
I think Eva said it earlier. It's like concierge service. It's sort of what it felt like. Utilize your connections. If you have an advisor, use it, and they'll walk you through the process. And they make it super easy and super simple. Just make sure you have your FAFSA filled out, ready to go, and that you just have all your documents. But other than that, I don't want to make it sound too easy, but it is pretty much a seamless process if you're linked up with your advisors.
Yeah, I agree completely. I agree completely with what Joel said. I mean, the advisors are just amazing. They just are. I mean, when I submitted my application personally with my written statement, my advisor actually kicked it back to me and said, "Hey, you have good content, but let's add this to it." So taking their advice, and a lot of schools don't do that. Okay, they're like, okay, they take it, and you can, and it might or might not be exactly what they're looking for, or those little tidbits that sometimes we don't realize we kind of need in there. So it's nice to have that kind of support from the advisor to say, listen, we're here for you. We want your success. So taking advantage of those little tips, because they've been, they're with the school, so they know. So that's exciting stuff.
To piggyback off of what Roxana and Joel both said, the process is easy. There's a lot of stuff to get in as fast as you can. But what is so tremendous about this program, I know I sound like a cheerleader, but I am. I love Dr. West. I'm like the biggest Dr. West cheerleader you will ever find. Dr. West actually walked me through. I wasn't even going to do this. We had a conversation and he was just like, you could do this, you could do that, blah, blah, blah. And he's the director of the program, amongst other things. He's full-time faculty. He's a professor that has classes. He's an author. And, he's all of these things. And he took the time to say, let me hold your hand and get you through this if you feel like you need an extra push. I think that speaks volumes about him, the school, and the program itself.
Absolutely. And Roxana, I so appreciate your comment about the personal statement, because as an enrollment advisor myself, we don't make the decisions for admissions. Our job is to help your application look so good to our faculty, to where they're like, no, we want this student. And so please, students, if you're listening to this, utilize your advisors. We're emailing you, calling you, because we want to make sure that we are helping you make that dream a reality. And so ask us questions, send us a chat, whatever you guys need, so that we can help you join this program and join this fantastic group of students with me today. And again, I know we're closing up. So panelists, I again want to just say thank you on behalf of the program and the students that are joining me today and will watch later for just taking the time to speak with us today. You don't understand how impactful your insight is to students that are going to be watching this. And so again, I appreciate you so much. And the students, like I said earlier, our early admissions deadline is coming up. It is Monday, November 8th. So we are officially less than 1 month away. And I will say this, everybody knows that the holidays are coming up. And if you're like me, I really don't care about applying for FAFSA or filling out an application or getting registered for classes during Thanksgiving. And so the earlier you can get everything done, the more time you have to just enjoy with your family, kick back and eat all the turkey that you would like. And so start that application early. It is free to apply. And should you be admitted into the program and decide that you want to accept your offer, we are actually extending our $300 deposit fee waiver code. And that is for everyone that's attending today. So be sure to connect with your advisor about that, and we'll definitely help you lock that in. In fact, we have actually included the link to our application in the comment section. So if that way you want to go ahead and get started, you can do that. Again, if you have any additional questions, let us know. You can see that phone number on the screen, as well as how to chat with us and one of our representatives. And then of course, there's the link to start your application as well. I probably sound like a broken record, but again, I so appreciate you guys. Students, I appreciate you joining us out of your busy schedules. That is all for us today. And just let us know if there's anything we can do to serve you best through this process. Thanks so much, guys.